Revenge is a dish best served cold, but not in the case of animals. If a person offends some animal, it tends to immediately punish the offender. A monkey can start throwing stones at a person from the enclosure. A wolf can suddenly attack a hunter, or a kangaroo can even get a fix on the rude person's address. This is worth a look. In this episode, I'll show you animals that took revenge on people in real life. Let's go. Ostrich. Ostriches are considered to be harmless and cowardly birds that do nothing but run around in Africa and stick their heads in the sand. To a certain extent, they are. They're non-conflictive creatures which never attack first. But don't forget that the ostrich is the largest bird in the world, which has not only a huge size but also sharp claws. It's better to stay away from such a giant. But this man doesn't think so. First, he pesters the ostrich from behind the fence, sticking his hand out and plucking the bird. Soon he reaches into the enclosure and punches the ostrich on its long neck. Of course, the bird didn't like this boorish behavior. It caught up with the rude man and threw him to the ground. Ironically, it was the neck that became the vengeful weapon. What a great example of karma. Baboon. Ostrich's neighbors in Africa, baboons are much more belligerent creatures. While the ostrich can tolerate a little abuse, baboons fight back immediately. And if they can't do it directly, they find some ways. For example, here we see footage from an American zoo. Two girls walk by an enclosure in which a baboon is sitting. The girls try to get its attention. At first, they call out to it. Then they start teasing the primate, and then they throw rocks at it. At first, the baboon tried to behave calmly and decently, but its patience quickly ran out. The monkey became furious, started kicking the bars, screaming, and then threw feces at the girls and the cameraman, who happened to be their father. The throw was very accurate. The projectiles went straight into the little rude girls, who were very upset. Well, at least now they'll know not to play around with baboons. Orangutan. And here's a relative of the baboon, the orangutan. More specifically, the female orangutan. The action again takes place in a zoo of some kind. We see a female orangutan asking for a banana from a man standing in front of it. He mimics the primate's gesture, but in the end, the man does throw the female one banana. The visitor waits patiently for the primate to unwrap the banana and eat it. The monkey then throws the peel back and demands a second banana. Over the next few seconds, the female orangutan asks for a second banana, but the male refuses. Then the monkey picks up a stone and throws it at the greedy man. The visitor had to quickly take cover behind a stone wall from such a bombardment. Of course, this cannot be called a full-fledged revenge, but still the visitor got it. He shouldn't have gone stingy on a banana. Wolf. Next up is a more serious case. It happened in Kazakhstan several years ago. A group of hunters tracked down a wolf and shot the poor animal, after which it dropped dead. The men were delighted with the precious trophy and began to take pictures and videos of it. But that wasn't enough for them, and they began to mock the wolf. One of the hunters kicked the carcass of the animal. Suddenly, the wolf jumped up, snarled, and pounced on the offender. It turned out that the wolf had been pretending to be dead all the time. The hunter backed away and the predator threw him into the snow. The next few seconds were total chaos and it wasn't clear what was going on, but by all appearances the wolf was eliminated after all. This was later confirmed by the hunters themselves. The hunter who had mocked the wolf was all right, but the wolf had died. However, he'd still managed to stand up for itself and stir the pot in the end. The fact that wolves can fight back if people hurt them is not surprising. What's more interesting is that seemingly harmless creatures are capable of it too. Swans, for example. But in fact, swans are not such simple birds, especially black swans. They know how to stand up for themselves. For example, in this footage, a golfer pested a couple of black swans. The guy just wanted to chase the birds off the golf course to play and started pushing them. The birds didn't like this behavior. Soon, the swans themselves began to push the guy. One of the birds went all the way and literally drove the golfer away, who was so unceremoniously poking the feathered creatures. And here's another incident. Here we are on the golf course again, and there's the swan again. These birds seem to be very fond of golf, and they really don't like to be pestered by golfers. Apparently, the man was trying to get the ball that had rolled down toward the swan and was gently clawing it with its club, but he must have accidentally hit the swan, or the bird just didn't like the intrusion. Either way, the bird became angry and pounced on the golfer, dropping him to the ground. When the man got up, he swung at the bird, and the swan decided it hadn't taught the rude man enough, so it attacked him again. and they also say golf is a quiet game. Elephant. Swans don't like golfers, and elephants don't like photographers. Well, at least this elephant doesn't like them. This cute creature with a trunk apparently was fed up with the fact that no one plays with it and that people only want photos from it. So another tourist came up to the animal with the obsession of taking a selfie. But the little elephant wasn't in the mood. First, it abruptly lowered its front limbs from the wall, hitting the guy, as if hinting that it didn't want it to take pictures. And then it kicked him when the guy tried to take a selfie. It was hilarious. And the guy was lucky it was a little elephant. Imagine what would have happened if it had been an adult giant elephant. Ram. Teasing an animal is not a good idea. Especially it's not a good idea to tease animals with food. And especially if you do it with a ram. In general, rams are not the most confrontational creatures and will not attack for no reason. But sometimes they can use their horns. In this footage, we see how the shepherd of a herd of rams decided to tease his animals with food. One of the rams didn't like this behavior and decided to get his revenge by rushing to the man. The ram started goring and pushing. The shepherd had a bag that he used as a shield, otherwise such blows with horns wouldn't pass without a trace. Soon the ram was joined by other members of the herd, which increased the pressure. It seemed that altogether they were about to kill the man. But the shepherd stopped messing around, began to reprimand the herd, and the rams and sheep scattered. While the shepherd was chasing rams, half the world away, the relatives of these cloven-hoofed animals were not letting themselves be hurt either. Llamas are nice enough creatures with funny muzzles, but you shouldn't be fooled by their appearance. In case anything happens, they can stand up for themselves. For example, here a boy got into the llama's enclosure and started to make it uncomfortable. At first, he started stroking the llama, which obviously didn't want to see anyone, and then he stood right in front of the animal. The long eye contact didn't please the llama and it spit right in the boy's face, splashing him with a big splash. The same thing happened in this footage, taken in winter in some pen. The llama didn't like the fact that the girl followed it everywhere and mimicked its gait. The llama waited a moment and rewarded the girl with a spit. And here are a couple of llamas that love to spit too. But in this case, the girl didn't do anything wrong, but only tried to feed the cute creatures. They're obsessed with spitting. But what's surprising if llamas are direct relatives of camels? And here's another feeding scene, only this time the protagonist is a giraffe. The action takes place in a zoo of some kind. The father and mother stand together with their son near a small fence behind which giraffes live. The mother gives a large leaf of some plant to the boy, and he in turn gives the food to the giraffe. Of course, the giraffe wants to take the leaf and raise its head, but the boy, for some reason, doesn't let the leaf out of his hands. Then the giraffe decided to teach the boy a lesson and lifted him into the air. He was saved only by the parents' reaction, who managed to catch their child. Otherwise, the child would fly 16 feet up. The episode turned out a little tense, but overall funny. The giraffe got a treat, and the family got bright and unforgettable emotions. By the way, did you know that giraffes can fight? Like the ostrich I showed at the beginning of this episode, they use their long necks to knock their opponent down. The opponent is usually another giraffe. These creatures do not control their limbs as well as their necks, which cannot be said for kangaroos. These marsupials are excellent boxers, as good as Tyson or Ali. Kangaroos also know how to perform chokeholds. This kangaroo was strangling a dog, and the male protagonist of the video noticed it. He ran out of the car and scared the kangaroo. The dog ran away, and the man decided to teach the marsupial a little lesson and slapped it. The kangaroo was shocked by this action and literally numbed. Soon everyone was gone, but the story didn't end there. That same day, the kangaroo somehow got a fix on the offender's address and came to his house to sort it out. It's unknown how that ended. That's all, guys. Which moment did you like the most? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.